Today is July 14th, 2026. You know, everything that is going on, if you put what is a jail sentence, they come up federal rights. That's where I keep saying, don't follow the prostitute who lies down the rabbit hole. It's like Alice in Wonderland following the white rabbit down a hole into insanity. They're so insane in their lies, their scams. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know, they made up a lie. She was rude to someone, so the FBI allowed them to hurt her. That agent did. What is the jail sentence for that? 20 life. And then I wasn't rude to anybody. It was a lie. Big lie. See, that's where idiot people were cackling outside Walmart 62 yesterday. Okay? We found out that one girl that said she didn't act right in a restaurant, how she acted. The only thing she did is ask, who is that? Told you where in March or April of 18, Dave insisted we went to this one restaurant. We never went there. He insisted. We go in, there's a couple by the window, then there's an old couple. The waitress set us by the old couple. This blonde girl, maybe 18, 100 pounds, long blonde hair, walks by and goes, this at me. Sits down and rams her body in the back of the booth. I went, Dave, who's that? He's like, I don't know. Rams the body in the back of the booth, knocks me forward. I said, Dave, who is that? He said, I don't know. Then that older couple started saying the word about Dave and something else. I said, Dave, those people seem to know you. She hits the back of my boot, bam, until she knocks me on the table. I said, Dave, who are those people? He's like, I don't know. I said, do you want to leave? He's like, no. We already ordered our food. I said, can I sit over there with you? He's like, yes. He wraps his arms around me. Are you okay? I said, yes. Who are those people? He's like, I don't know. And he gives him a death stare. Told Danny some crazy blonde girl was throwing her body in the back of Mom's booth. Harry's supposed to be one of his girlfriends. Harry's 60 dating another 18-year-old. Crazy. Psycho girl. They're all psychos. And it's just like when the case first started, they were saying they were getting even with me for being rude to Katie. When people found out I hadn't talked to her in at least over 6-7 years. Only said hi to her. In the mall, maybe with Dave. We didn't go to her church. Didn't have nothing to do with her. Had no contact. I told you in 03 how Strange thought I was following her and Tim. And it was Linda following her husband. He thought it was me. And he took my kid and pushed him to suicide. They nailed my mom's tires until she moved out of state. But was out of here before Christmas 03. Won't come back to Ohio. Okay? Danny was in counseling for 2 years. Medication. It was horrible. I wanted nothing to ever do with those people again. In 2010, I started going down to Blaylocks. And everything was fine at first. And then weird rumors started going around. I had asked Francis to go for a walk with me. And I said, where are all these weird stories coming from? He said, well, Mary hates you. I said, Mary? I haven't seen her in 8 years. She stopped, started smiling like the Grinch that stole Christmas and said, is that what's going on? I said, what's going on? You don't know? No, what? Never mind. Lying on somebody they hadn't seen. Okay? Then, Dave came home from church one night, and I had watched Danny's kids while they were working. And he picked him up about an hour before he got home. I'm sitting there watching TV. He comes in. He beats me till I'm bloody and sexually assaults me. And time I break free and I clean up, I come back crying rivers of tears. Why? He said, you'll learn to keep your filthy mouth shut. I said, filthy mouth shut? Danny just picked up the kids lesson an hour ago. I've been sitting here waiting for you. He looked like he was going to puke. Okay? Well, he got mad enough. He had quit his church. Well, before that, people were making up crazy stories. I went over and visited that church maybe twice, hoping somebody would say where the crazy stories were coming from. And then you can just debunk them and then move on. Nobody said anything in that place. Gave me nightmares. I didn't go back. Okay? I was with Dave. And while I was going out on Playlocks, they started making up stories that Dave was cheating with Katie. Well, she's been cheating with Tim since like 01, and here it's 11, which is ridiculous. And they kept coming up and saying that he moved out, they're going out and all this stuff. He's still at home. Well, after he beat me real bad that night, a while had passed, and we went to walk in Macy's, and this is like 2011, and we're by the purses by the back area. Can she hear down the mall in another store? No. I said, Dave, are you cheating with that girl? He said, Karen, I'd rather kiss a cow's butt than that fat, ugly heifer. Well, I giggled at his mean joke, and I said, Dave, are you cheating with that girl? He said, Karen, she's pathetic, making up stories for the people's attention, making up stories for people to feel sorry for. As if a married man would leave his wife for her, as if. She's nothing but pathetic. Well, he quit his church right after that. Now, before that, if she would have said hi, if she would have been out in the mall, we would have said hi. But we already avoided her like the plague, because Linda, when my sister Linda, her husband Tim was cheating with Katie for years, and she wouldn't say anything. And if she wanted to live in an open relationship, that's her own problem. But we're not going to get involved. And then having to have like uncomfortable conversations, we avoided it, of acting like we don't know anything. Okay? So we avoided her. And after that, we really avoided her. We walked on the other side kiosk. We tried not to even talk if we walked by her store, so they couldn't say we were saying anything out in the mall. I didn't have her phone number, didn't have her address. We didn't go to church with her. She's not in our social group. We had nothing to do with her. So when it came to 2018, somebody she doesn't see, doesn't talk to, has nothing to do with. The only way she'd know of Dave's mean joke in 2011 is if he told her. And I dared laugh. In Macy's when she wasn't around. Never mean or rude to her. Matter of fact, a couple months ago down in Dutch Valley Restaurant, people were in there. They confronted Katie and said, she didn't even talk to you for years. And she told them that she was never rude to me. Never mean. She lied. She was getting even with me because in 03, I avoided her and went and talked to her. There's like 200 or 300 people at that time in that church. Had our own social group, and she wasn't part of it. So not talking to someone and being polite and not just avoiding them is very easy when there's that many people. And who does she think she is, that people should go out of their way to say hello? And like they said, when people found out she wasn't even She was avoiding her because her sister was went to confront her husband, and she was cheating with her sister's husband. Nobody blamed her for avoiding her and saying she's getting even for that. And it was 15 years for the case and 23 years now. When the case first started, people said they were stealing for Katie. They even said it on March 5th, 26 in Bell Store in Magnolia that they were stealing for Katie. The cartel even set it up in Summit Mall this last winter. That is Katie's family trying to steal. Okay? So that's where all these people that helped out thought they were stealing for them. And that prostitute, and people act like that prostitute is one of her family members. Somehow related to him. That Agent John Stain. That's how not funny it is. And his girlfriend's supposed to be that Henry Moffey's daughter. Yeah, that's how not funny this is. The guy that admitted he never met me in person. And see, that's where there's people have said none of this is funny. That's the guy that was supposed to be doing everything. And he admitted he never met her in person. I never even heard of it. Or the case. See, that's where, you know, I've gave the statement repeatedly and repeatedly. Okay? From the money disappearing to the attempts on my life to moving up there. 6th day we're out. Somebody kicks the door into the wall. While we're gone, he's making up excuses not to report it. Probably a realtor passed out keys, nothing's missing. And then by the second week, I got bruises on me, throwing up, severely infected, almost passing out. And I'm blaming the orange well water I'm showering in. It's the only thing new to me. And we have several bees' nests in the backwoods. I even told Dave we need an exterminator. He said, what am I going to do? Exterminate the whole 5 acres? It was nothing to take a broom and swat them. There's times I take a shower and I go in and dry off, go to bed, wake up with orange, lemon, and grapefruit sized bruises, throwing up, severely infected. Thinking it's the well water. Thinking it's toxic. Other times I'd wake up, I'd be fine, go out, work out in the yard, and come in, wash my hands. I drink a lot of Diet Coke. I had a 2-liter, and I pour a glass of Diet Coke, make a sandwich, go and use the bathroom, wash my hands, come out, and sit down and take a drink. And the room would go dizzy and black. And these people last year, when they admitted to using hypnotic drugs on me, which do cause sleepwalking, you can walk, talk, drive a car, eat, cook, have sex. It's like the perfect date rape drug. You're wide awake sleepwalking. They're mind-controlling drugs. Those people admitted they hid behind doors. And as I had to walk by, they stabbed me real quick and leaned back. You wouldn't think to look for a human being. I was looking for a bee. So I'm like, they said she don't even remember being stabbed in the hallway. I thought, stabbed in the hallway? Then I thought, I bet it where I was complaining about the bees getting in the house. Probably thought I got stung. Carl's daughter, Audrey, said she watched a thing on the cartel, and hypnotic drugs are their drug of choice. They load up syringes, go to raves. And they'll go around, pick out which ones they want, jab them as they walk by, and then keep going. Wait a minute, come back and they'll leave with them willingly. They're mind-controlling drugs. They're fake sodium pentothal reports. Where they break in 19 at Faith Family Church, they had mind-controlling drugs. They could control anyone for 4 to 6 hours. They did it to a U.S. Marshals kid twice. She moved out of the area for safety. My co-worker Dar was taken and raped. Doesn't know what happened to her. And my neighbor Mike didn't know how he got home from a bar, didn't know how he changed his shoes, how he got money in his pocket, what he'd ate. Tried to tell me he was a New York cop and thought I was pretty. Asked me to go cuddle. He's stoned out of his mind. I'm like, go sleep that off. He didn't remember saying that to me. I could have told him to say or do anything. He would have. Never remembered. It's sick, drug dealers playing with people in their home like that. When they don't see them, don't talk to them. Rapists playing with somebody. I told you, I only had family repair guys, installation guys, 2 ceiling officers. In August of 18, I called 911 at midnight. We only had 3 cameras outside and nothing on the inside. Front porch, back porch, side yard. Nothing on the inside. There's a light in the outside security system. I called 911. They told me I looked like an alien orb, angry spirit. Told me to buy a dog and let a dog handle it. They didn't want bothered. I didn't have anybody else in my home. Think how not funny it is. Predators playing with you like this. Rapists, drug dealers. Going to the doctor with orange, lemon, grapefruit sized bruises. Throwing up, severely infected. Almost passing out. And keep saying, is it the well water toxic? I'm showering. And no memory of what had happened to you. Making fun of a rape victim. Now think of that Michelle had agents dating. The prostitute. Where you realize on July 5th, 26, where that investigator came in, they won't say a word to her in here. Girls walked by, some guys said, no, we're not to say anything like that to her again. The girl that was cackling in a restaurant, it's a prostitute. Had to be a federal agent or undercover police. And then the Stark County sheriffs were talking. That girl that was laughing in the restaurant said agent's girlfriend has to pay the date. The prostitute. And that's where this whole thing was, their family's debt to drug dealers. They were paying them back. And a drug lord was scamming the FBI. Had his people do it. And that came out July 5th. And they were running a con on him. They also said that November 23rd, 25 and December 1st, 25. They were running a scam on the FBI. September 30th, 25, 1 o'clock in the morning, I guess that girl that was cackling in the restaurant was cackling in front of people and in front of the wrong ones. How they fooled everybody. A biker, their response was they sent a biker down to outside my work because my car was bugged by the police with a court order, the FBI, so they'd have her confession. Screaming, the guys running it said no one's allowed to say a word to her life. They found out this whole thing is your family's debt to drug dealers. Is that what's going on? Yes. Does she even know who you are? No, I don't want her to know who I am. She doesn't even know who you are, and you had her skull bashed in, her raped and tortured because you were in debt to drug dealers? Yes, I'm sorry. Listen to her and her friend Matt talk. January 13th, 23, the Ohio drug dealers were threatening that agent's life because he thought he let all those people be human trafficked, and it was your family letting them be human trafficked, and it was your family, human trafficked people, to pay off those debts to drug dealers. Yes, I'm sorry. She sold children and she's sorry. It was your family that incited her new husband's family to threaten his life, to take his farm and everything from him. Well, yes. I really liked that farm and I wanted it. She thinks she can have people's lives threatened and terrorized to steal from them. Picked a real winner there, didn't you? Listen to the original cartel in August of 23. They had already admitted they photoshopped everything. Did you know that? Yes. Do you know that they confronted her ex-husband if he knew it was medication errors, medical malpractice, and fraud? And it was all wrote up as that. And they encouraged them to sue those doctors for years. Yeah, I knew that. They were talking clear down in New Philly, October 11th, 25, in KOC, that Michelle confessed to human trafficking. Maslin, other places. They sold the login. Everybody heard. Okay? November 23rd, 25, Macy's downstairs in Summit Mall. Girls are in there. This whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was connected to us, so we asked him if we could do it to her. He said yes, if they made sure that he got everything during the divorce. December 1st, 25, the other Michelle that's been telling on him, she was dating another agent, and she told on them for the doctor from before not being one of my works for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors. March 27th, 25. When they bashed on my head, they tried to kill me or leave me incompetent. It didn't work. And as soon as she told them, he broke up with her. Carl seen her have a meltdown yelling that April 17th, 25, in Sheets parking lot. Okay. Texas group admitted that this whole thing was a scam from that guy, Will, to join them, and of the doctor from before not being one of my works for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors. The whole thing is a scam. That's over, and the other Michelle told on them. Tell them we said take care of her, and they threatened the girl's life. May 26, 25, the part of the cartel comes in Walmart 62 that they heard they were making fun of, which May 25th, 25, and Hollister's teenagers were laughing at this. And May 26, 25, Walmart 62, part of the cartel comes in. We heard they were all making fun of Bill from the Freemasons' big scam of the dirty doctor not being one of hers works for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors. And she actually doesn't know who he is. The whole thing's a scam from Bill. Okay. May 30th, 25, the Louisville police show outside my apartment at 1 o'clock in the morning outside talking to a lady. They found the original case. My ex-husband hired 2 men on his own. One was saying he's an attorney, so it's legal. The other one said no, and the officer said no, it isn't. It's worse than illegal. It is very worse illegal. And they found the surveillance of May 26, 25 of the cartel saying that in Walmart 62 about this whole thing being a scam. Okay? And they kept threatening that girl's life for telling on them. Well, her and her friends went badass. Anytime they found out anything, they went to investigators. December 1st, 25, an investigator showed up at Walmart 62. Michelle showed up in my office, said this whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. Her ex-husband was involved, and that the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied. He was one of her doctors, and she actually doesn't know who he is. And that guy Pete running his mouth about her, she doesn't even know who he is. It's just some guy Dave hired on his own. And these people admitted to using hypnotic drugs on her when they drugged her and told her to say it before. And the tape of Weird With Yourself is nothing but photoshopped of washing in the shower. And the whole thing was a scam to extort money from the government. January 1926, Carl and I are on our way up to Fairlawn. We go in, Bob Evans, on the way up there. When the first of the case, I had an Instagram account. Some guy texted me like the first month, I think you're beautiful. I look, it says from a Henry Mafia, I don't know. Something about love on a beach, something else. I don't know him. Okay? I go to stores, people are showing up saying they work for Judge Peters from Florida, they're drug traders or human traffickers. They're talking about that Henry Maffei. Okay? Then you go outside, you watch them get in their vehicles, and then at times there's a guy looks like the picture from Instagram driving with him. Don't know him. Okay? I haven't even heard like the riffraff people talk about him in a long time. So we're on the way up there, and I said, you know, these people throwing threats at me. They need to realize I'm an FBI informant. They can kiss my government immunity, government protected informant ass. They can kiss the FBI's ass. They can kiss the judge's ass that signed it. I'm tired of it. Okay? I turn on MC Hammer, You Can't Touch Us, and we're joking around in the car. We go and Bob Evans. I didn't know he was listening. And he's so mad he came in and confessed. I go in, there's two guys sitting at a table, a waitress sits me by him. He said, I'm the one that got a hold of her online. I thought, you look like that picture, but thinner. I'm watching him. He said, I proved with those text messages she was cheating. That's not cheating, that's him being a weirdo. I don't know you. He said, I tell all men she's not good enough for another man, and I'm glad I never met her in person. I thought, fuck you, you're as ugly as a horse's ass. You wouldn't have got a pity date. He's like her dancing around the car with her new husband. The officers that only watch her for the case only watch her because they feel sorry for her. I thought they liked me, there's a quarter to her. And he said, I'm the one that told her new husband's son that he could threaten his life and steal everything from him. Found out he was down at that farm vandalizing and stuff. Told him stay out of it. That I'll steal everything for them. You can't go around having people threaten people's lives and steal from them. Jerk. He said, I found out the other Michelle's telling on what we're actually doing. He confessed. They can't use it. You just confessed, you idiot. He said, I have a judge is free. That'll enter all my tapes in court without the FBI and without her. Turn all the case's money over to me. Be long gone, steal all the money for the case's money for myself and pull a fast one on the FBI. I thought over my dead body. I wrote the president, FBI Internal Affairs, the Department of Justice, and I sent him a picture of him and where to find the case. Over my dead body, that rat won't get a dime. Investigators showed up the next day at Belden Village and they were laughing. We told you she doesn't know what's going on. That guy admitted he never met her in person. Okay? That was January 1926. Okay. And then March 5th, 26, people talking about everything from the agent taking a payoff, it's Katie's family trying to steal everything, to, oh, it's horrible. Okay? To around that time, they were telling people they got an agent in their pocket. They can let them get away with crimes. All right. June 26, 26, I'm in Dutch Valley Restaurant with Carl, and we're in one of those the booths with like a half wall. This girl comes in. It's my family doing all this. They're stealing everything from me. We're teaching her a lesson because she's a faker. I almost died from medical malpractice. That's not even funny. So they're stealing everything for me. The drug dealers we hired to do this to her took a video of her washing in the shower, photoshopped that in the other room to make her look weird with herself, to make fun of her. And then starts cackling. Those guys, they picked her out personally to do all these things to her so we could make fun of her. So they could harm me. She admitted the cartel picked me up. I was the perfect victim. Like they said in 18, she's a perfect person for this. Nobody comes sees her. Nobody calls. Nobody checks on her. We can isolate her alone so much. We could kill her or take her and nobody would know till it's too late. She's the perfect person. Nobody cares about life. They care, they're just neglectful. Okay. Okay. July 5th, 26. I have to take somebody to church. I go in, and I don't think people realize how much that prostitute's making a fool out of people. The one set of girls that were in that church, I was in like a cafe area, the mind reader, says she's weird inside. I thought, ignore ignorance, go sit down. Guy comes out of nowhere, they won't say a word. She had enough courage to walk in here. And she's working. A few minutes later, they walk by. That guy said, no, we're not to ever talk to her like that again. That some prostitute was in a restaurant, bragging how they were stealing all the money for her. And how she fooled everybody. Starr County Sheriffs were in there. That girl that was in the restaurant is that agent's girlfriend that he has to pay today. We thought he was only acting this way to get the drug dealer, so I showed up at that courthouse trying to get the case thrown out. Being seen with an opposing attorney trying to get a case thrown out is 20 to life. They should have arrested him. Well, when I got home, there was a guy outside my apartment. My car is bugged by the FBI and police. July 5th, 26. He yells out, we found out that one they call Henry the drug lord. Found out that one they call Henry Mafia's kid was laughing in a restaurant. That she stole all her money. She was never to get a dime. A person like that. She was only given to that agent from that drug lord to date him, to get him to open the case as fraud. So it get thrown out, and the drug dealers that got arrested would be released and could sue for tens of millions of dollars each for false arrest under fraud. She was only to date him to go along with him, not to ever get her money and never take a dime. In 18, big drug dealers were walking around Walmart 62. She'll learn not to take another man's money. She'll learn not to spend another man's money. Well, apparently, the thieving whore hasn't learned. People need to realize the rights and everything that is being said. Put what is the jail sentence on Google. They're federal crimes. That agent where I called the hotline. They said they'd have an agent call me back. The next day, the phone's ringing. I can't even wake up all the way. I have rivers of tears running down my face. I'm still busy for a minute.
Huh?
I'm still busy for a minute.
Oh, okay.
I had rivers of tears running down my face. Kept saying I can't. I couldn't wake up. Letting it go to voicemail. Woke up later. I couldn't even stand up straight. Was holding on the wall to get the bathroom to the refrigerator. Got back in bed and listened to voicemail. This is agent. Did it call me back again? Second day, I'm not much better. Third day, I made myself get up. Holding my head on the front porch. What's wrong with me? I feel drunk and I don't drink. They're drugging the hell out of me. Keeping me drugged up. Okay? And I called one of my witnesses that I gave the hotline. And I said she'd witness. I went out and bought a card, put that agent's number in it. Okay? Dropped it off at the mall. Her manager put it in a locker. Went up to Apostolic Church of Parkdale. He's up there telling on me. Paul Paymer screaming at him. My God, I had an FBI agent in my office. He's right there. I walk off women, and as he's screaming, how dare you bring the FBI up here with threats on her life? Women walk up. He knows she's being drugged, being raped, and he said he didn't care. I'm covered in bruises, lost 18 pounds. My heart's sinking in my stomach. I thought it was a well water. I go in and sit down. They follow me. He knows she's being drugged, being raped. He said he didn't care. If she's going to be faking, she was fake. Strangers lie to cover up Tim and Katie. From 03. And he didn't care what they were going to do to her. She was going to be mean to the women. I already told the hotline I have nothing to do with those people. Nothing. How would you know it's them? This girl named Katie cheats with my brother-in-law, Tim. And she's been leaving threats in the mall that it's them. That's the only reason I know. I have nothing to do with those people. They pushed my kid to suicide in 03 when they thought I was following Tim and Katie, and it was Linda following her husband. Only went back over there twice in like 2011, and I didn't go back. They were making up stories on me then. And I have nothing to do with them. I have no phone numbers, no addresses. I have no contact with them. Then how would you know? Only because these 3 people in the mall, I know she's bragging to them. It's them trying to kill me. So they already knew I wasn't mean to anybody. I had no contact. Okay. Dave comes in. Let's go. We get out in the car. You call the FBI on me. I had to carry it myself. And he goes for a loaded gun. I put my hand on the console. He beat me all the way home. I almost jumped on the highway. I ran from him. Next morning, rivers of tears. I call that agent back. I tell him someone told on me. You liar. I tell him about a guy that threatened to knife me at a Giant Eagle. He calls me a liar. Started screaming about a camera above the bench. I don't know. You either say you're lying or I'll arrest you. And I said, well, he tried to kidnap me before I could say Terry Coberly seen him. He starts going off, even if a church person seen him, they never verify him. That's why I didn't tell him about Terry. And he said, I met with that family in my office. The one on March 27th, 25, confessed to a federal agent that they were all lying to the FBI when they were in that office, that it never offended them. They were just helping these people get away with it. They all thought they were stealing for Katie's family. That's why. Okay? They all lied to the FBI, never offended them, didn't even concern them. March 20th, 26th, an agent from 18 shows up at Walmart West Test by the Electronics. March 20th, 26th. Okay. I haven't found one bit of this funny since the family that was telling everybody it offended him, strange calling her a faker and 03, said they were all lying to the FBI when they were in the office. It didn't even concern them. Okay. He said how I met with that family in my office when the poor father murdered their kid in vehicular homicide, speeding around a stop sign and semi. I wasn't even there. Those people and all the church people that were lying to him to scam him, basically. And he knew they were trying to kill me because the strangest lie to cover up Tim and Katie from 03. Calling me a faker when it's medical malpractice, fraud, medication errors. Because you were faking, you were sick. I said, I really was sick before. You liar, you either say you're lying or I'll come up there and arrest you. And I said I really was sick before. Was there a camera above that bench or not when you heard that guy's voice in that giant eagle? I said, I don't know. You say it or I'll say you're lying or I'll arrest you. I'm coming up. I'm going to put you in jail. You hear me? I'm coming up. I'm like, fine, whatever. Ha 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 ha. Like they said down in Magnolia. They're sending out the recorded line of him bullying me. And he sounds like pure evil. How he laughs at her as he bullies her. He sounds Satan possessed. He said, now I want you to say you were faking you were sick before. Well, I've told you what was wrong with me. How I had all the surgeries. My muscles locked up, went to a bunch of crackpots, gave me a bunch of wrong medicine, my whole body swelled up, heart attacks, seizures, thyroid, adrenal gland shut down. I was literally dying from medical malpractice. And my community health told me how they were known for lying, falsely diagnosing people, ripping them off, making them sick, and wanting to do unnecessary procedures and getting kickbacks from the drug companies. Encouraged us to sue them for years. And they wrote it up as all fraud. Medical malpractice, medication errors, that almost killed me. Okay. It took me 9 months to get well. I said I really was sick before. Now, I met with that family in my office that lost their kid in a traffic accident, the one that confessed they were lying. And all those lying church people, basically. And I know they're trying to kill you, and because you were faking you were sick. I said I really was sick before. You need to realize what you've done, and I don't blame him for trying to kill you. He actually says that on a recorded line. I said I really was sick before. You say it or I'll leave you there. I said they've tried to kill me, so. They've tried to kill me, so you either say it or I'll leave you there. You start screaming, no, say it or else. I said, fine, just don't let them kill me. Why would that be? I help a person like you. I said, well, they've tried to kill me, so. They've tried to kill me, so. The other agent said, well, we could always use Pete's tape of weird with yourself. Well, the prostitute said it was drug dealers photoshopping and washing in the shower, like everybody else did. Made fun of the FBI for falling for it. November 18th, 22. Eric made fun of everyone. They made fun of Agent John, June 7th, 23. Then called him a coward, August 5th, 25. They think he's a fool and a coward. He does realize they admitted years ago they set him up to be arrested too. I said, I don't even know what you're talking about. It's photoshopped by somebody I've never met. The only Pete I know is my brother Medina. I thought I haven't seen him in years. I haven't seen him in years. And I talked to him on the phone. What are you know, it's like, why is he lying on him? I didn't even know about this guy. I said, what are you talking about? I don't even know who you're talking about. And he's laughing. Stop, you don't know. Well, you know it was photoshopped by drug dealers. Think of that one. And he said something else. And I've never met that guy. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I bet you're going to say you don't know anything about this doctor for sexual disorders. That's disgusting. Of one of your brother. At that point, I had to catch my breath. I almost yelled at him, why don't you stop lying? And then I thought, well, I had some other lady use my insurance for 15 years. Maybe it's one of hers. Just a scam. And he's laughing. Stop, she don't know. He said, give me a real reason. My brother-in-law, Craig, died working for the government. I tell him about him. He said, first of all, have you talked to any law enforcement about threats on your life? I said, the only ones I've talked to is 2 officers in August of 18 at midnight. We had a light in the outside security system. We only have 3 cameras on the outside, front porch, back porch, side yard, nothing inside. At midnight I had a light and it came out and they said it looked like an alien orb. Angry spirit told me to buy a dog and let a dog handle it. And I said, they didn't want to bother. You're kidding, right? I said, matter of fact, I said, no. I said, I've never even had my neighbors in my home. I don't know what you're talking about. He sounded like a crazy nutbag. He said, well, I could take you somewhere and leave you with no money. He said, if you agree to get information on Dave and the churches, that I can open an employment program. Comes with like 5,000 a month, something like that. I said, I can do that. He said, I'm loading the money on a card. You'll have a life of peace as an informant, nothing legally stated, dated against you again for working this case. And only for you and only for you would we do this for. Always put it back as if it never happened. You can't be legally charged again for working this case. You raised the case. I have 1 traffic ticket from 89. I'm squeaky clean. I mean, crazy clean. I have nothing. He said, and admit to no wrongdoing and I'll take care of everything in the end. But if you try to tell someone, now, he's already been seen by hundreds telling on me. Admitted he had them all in his thing, in his office. They already all know. Here is where he's just bullying me. He said, if you try to tell someone, the FBI won't help you. I'll tell people you're crazy. But if you need help, my best friend is the chief of police of Canton. And he's a really good man. You can trust him. He'll make sure the Canton police always protect you. Like an investigator said, I listened to the recorder line. I almost fell out of my Jerry dog store like that. He actually does. Like a lady investigator in Magnolia, they're sending out the recorder line. He sounds like pure evil laughing at her as he's bullying her. What is a jail sentence for an FBI agent if he tells an informant they won't get their money if they say anything? It is blackmail, extortion out of government funds, a crime against the U.S. government, tampering with a witness, and obstruction to justice. Under the color of the law, no one can take your rights away. The freedom of speech, First Amendment. Only a judge jury, like a jury trial, can put a gag order. No judge could sign it. What would be the jail sentence for the judge? 20 to 30 years. What is a jail sentence for an FBI agent if he tells an informant they say anything they won't have protection? It's attempted murder. aiding and abetting in crimes, tampering with a witness, obstruction to justice. What is it? And it's 20 to 30 years. What is a jail sentence for a judge signing that? About the same. No judge can sign it. Under the Colorado law, no one can take your rights away. Not even a judge could sign it because it's not a jury trial. They can't take your freedom of speech away, and neither can an agent. Nor can a 14th Amendment. You cannot withhold protection from any U.S. citizen in any jurisdiction. Get the idea? He's only bullying me. And then these fools run around. Well, he said nobody could help her. He can't say that, and it's a federal crime. Where Starr County Sheriffs on July 5th, 26th were talking in that church. We all know when that agent said that she, if she said anything, da-da-da-da, he said, we always knew it was blackmail. He don't even have the authority. It's a First Amendment. Just like a criminal attorney, prosecutor's office, he was only bullying you. He's been playing everyone. My friend Grant has an FBI agent friend that's out of state. Said every informant gets paid. If she honestly didn't get her money, the only way you can get money out of an FBI case, and the only way you can steal from it, is the agent simply put that debit card in his pocket. Somebody in the office is covering for him and signed that. He handed it to her. He's probably been stealing for a while, and he got caught this time. He just basically stole my debit card. Where that prostitute's laughing, she got all my money, she's just using my debit card he gave her. Yep. So with him telling on me and then leaving me up there with no money, he has it set up for fraud. Where that guy said the drug lord had her, that Henry Mafi's kid date him, so he set up a case of fraud so the drug dealers get released. Convince him into doing it. I was doing research of how the case could get thrown out. Not paying an informant is one, and mistreatment. So that's where I offered the FBI, if they write up a statement, that I was willing to stay there. Well, they got surveillance on me, while they surveillance me so they could get the people that were threatening my life and harming me and others. That I knew I was facing personal injury and bodily harm, knowing the agency alone would pay me and compensate me for any injuries. Knowing my rights of the First Amendment, that agent was only bullying me and didn't have the authority to ask me to stay quiet, and the agency alone would be taking care of it. It takes me from a knowledgeable worker that knew she was risking her life and would be compensated, and knowing my rights, he was only bullying me. They can deal with him themselves of stealing debit cards from their agency and bullying people. They can deal with that, but it'll fix the fraud. Like that people said, we wish they would take her off because all those drug dealers would get released. And the amount of people that got arrested off my case, we're talking about 1,000 to 2,500. They saved hundreds. U.S. Marshals got 800 in one swoop. We got Judge Peters out of Florida. They got the Buffalo, New York, several cartels out of Michigan, California, North and South Carolina, Texas groups are all after Kingsman. Found hundreds of kids, and their kidnappers will be released. And they can sue for tens of millions of dollars. It could cost the government anywhere from 10 to 25 billion. And see, that's where they said that drug lord had that prostitute date that agent to convince him to go along with it. He was trying to pull a scam on the FBI, have his people run a scam here. That's why I made the offer to the agency. If you write that up, that I was willing to stay there while they so they could surveillance me, so they could get these people that were threatening my life, harming me and harming others, knowing that I was risking my life and personal harm, knowing the agency alone would be paying me and compensating me, and knowing my First Amendment rights of freedom of speech, that agent didn't have the authority to ask me to stay quiet, he was only employing me. And knowing that they would be handling everything, pay me, compensate me, I sign it, like they said, it'll take it out of fraud into a willing worker that's paid and compensated. But otherwise, they have it set up for fraud. And people need to stop thinking that prostitute and those drug dealers are funny. Do you know how the government will get that money back? That big a loss? Gas price would be $5, $10 a gallon. Sales taxes will be 10% or more. Think your groceries are expensive now? They'll be 3 times. We'll all pay for it. The FBI found 6,000 children in 25 that they had took. 6,000 children. A lot of their kidnappers will be released, and they'll know where to find them. If that don't scare the hell out of you. You know, these people ran ridiculous scams. Fake sodium pentothal reports, special permission stocking tapes by drug dealers, photoshopping, washing, drug confessions, fake dirty doctors breaking HIPAA. They made up Twilight Zone scenarios, and that they could do this. Do you know, even if whether fake dirty doctor, blah, 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 blah. Do you know if one of your doctors is actually seen with an opposing attorney going to the police, they are both to be arrested for HIPAA, healthcare fraud and wire fraud, and extortion. They're not allowed to be seen together. They're to call the medical board and the bar associations and have their license revoked immediately. Your medical records, they cannot be in it with anybody else. They can't be seen with them. They can't go to the police with opposing attorneys and then use fake dirty doctors you've never heard of. Last year I was at my community health. The lady doctor said, I want to read the notes before you leave. Some office hired a psychiatrist on their own to evaluate her. No one's allowed to say a word because an office did it. There's about 30, 50 years in that letter. How dumb were you? No office can hire a psychiatrist on their own. I don't know what office. I don't know what psychiatrist. Never met him. Never was evaluated. Never signed him for that. Nor did I sign a release for them to send it out. It's all fraud. Get the idea? When I went over and asked Danny on Christmas Eve of 22 if he knew about any of this, him and Jen and the kids, they knew nothing. Kept going over and talking to him. April 16, 23, across the parking lot in the afternoon. Danny and Jen walk up to she and Gabe and said, I finally went to Dad to ask him what on earth is going on. He said he had hired some guy named Pete on his own. It was Pete and his men in her home before. Pete has her frame. Pete has her tape, the filthy, dirty statement. I've never talked to him. Never met him. Never had him in my home. The black and blue marks. The investigators call him a drug dealer, drug cartel, and a serial rapist. Some fucking rapist did this. I'm going to go ahead and upload this.